Welcome back to the Fox Robbins Business Show. Thank you for coming back to see us, and we're going to talk today about follow-up. And it's a big subject with all businesses, large, medium, and small, but especially needs to be talked about in the small business community and explained and discussed and with recommendations and ideas and so forth. We're going to handle that today. We have a special guest today, Nancy O'Keefe, and she's been with us before. This is the Fox Robbins Business Show. This is all about developing your best business ideas. And I am a co-host, Bill Fox, but the other co-host is, and I must tell you, he is the meritorious, the incorruptible, and exemplary Coach Robbins.
Mr. Bill.
Coach.
I understood some of those words. That's pretty good. I'm doing better.
And we, as you say, today our topic is top 10 reasons for follow-up. In the business environment. And I mentioned our guest is Nancy O'Keefe, who is Nancy O'Keefe Coaching at this point. But actually, Nancy is a very busy person, and I'm not sure what all she's doing these days. Nancy, what are you up to?
Well, I'm up to a radio show on eWomen Network, and I'm doing executive coaching, trying to help women make more strides in corporate America and helping business owners with the powerful people that they have in their organization and trying to simplify their business using systems so that it's fun and easy to run.
Excellent. Good idea.
Yeah.
And this thing, a follow-up, I mean, why did you think of this topic about, what's the thing about follow-up anyway?
Well, there's really two things. One, people don't do it.
That's the biggie.
And two, they have no systems for it.
Right.
I go into businesses and I see sticky notes on the monitor and to-do lists on the desk and a calendar, and then they have something in their smartphone, and that just is not a system. And things fall through the cracks. They don't remember. I mean, we have a busy lives as business owners, and it's very hard to keep track of everything. So really doing it, because without it, you don't have a business, and having a system to make it easy, and so things don't fall through the cracks.
Well, if you have a good system that you're comfortable with, you'll actually retain the discipline you need to use it if it's easy enough and gives you what you need.
And you want one system, not 4 or 5.
Not a notebook, not a little yellow piece of paper, not the iPhone that you talk into while you're driving.
We're talking, Nancy is going to talk about this follow-up thing. This pertains, I don't care if you are a one-person sole proprietor, doesn't matter to me, or your business is in the trunk of your car, fine with me, or if you're a larger business with 5, 10, 50 people, it doesn't matter. The business needs effective follow-up, which you're going to tell us all about today, but we're having this show because of what Nancy said. It doesn't happen. And that's why we're stressing it. We need to explain more about follow-up and how it happens and why it's important and how you do it. Your introduction is can't remember everything. You just mentioned that a minute ago. And there are certain things from the past, like a handwritten calendar, maybe, Nance, a so-called to-do list. Or how about sticky notes
all over the computer screen? Yeah.
You mentioned that in your introduction. Also, spreadsheets.
Right.
You said to me before the show, I hate spreadsheets. But you need to explain that, because some of the listeners are going to be upset by that.
A lot of people use spreadsheets, and they're great for crunching numbers. But when it comes to using them for a follow-up system, a spreadsheet is a list. It's not a system. And further, the more information you put on a spreadsheet, regardless of what you're using it for, the more difficult it becomes to use it. So I'm not a proponent of those for any kind of a follow-up system. They have their application, but follow-up isn't it.
And usually the biggest problem is the categories or categorizing things. Most people just use the spreadsheet and start typing, and different processes and different things get mixed in there, and It just doesn't work,
And
and then you
over-
get
yeah.
frustrated with it.
Over time, how do you get everything on one line on a spreadsheet?
You don't.
You don't.
And you said, also, I know this is down at the bottom, but it's also a extremely important point, is that the right system reminds you, which a spreadsheet does not.
Right, exactly.
You remind the spreadsheet
Right,
that what you're talking about is having follow-up that reminds you,
exactly.
is coming at you, right?
Yeah, I like systems that send you an email in the morning, so you
Yeah.
have a list of all your activities and a list of all your to-dos. Then you know what you've got out in front of you for the day.
Right.
And you say you're directing to small business persons, you say you
Small business person.
must take action. What do you mean by that? What are you talking about?
Well, let's look at sales as an example. The average sale takes between 5 and 10 follow-ups, but most people that are doing sales follow up once, maybe twice, hardly ever more than that. So you can improve your sales just by being crisp on your follow-up. People need to establish trust before they're going to do business with you. And the more expensive your product or the more complex it is, the bigger the trust factor. People are not going to do business with you after you follow up with them once after a meeting. So building that relationship and nurturing it, that's what a follow-up system needs to do for you.
Particularly in, as you say, a complex product, it takes a lot of consultation back and forth with the
Absolutely.
client, maybe to design the right system for that client, and it takes follow-up.
Absolutely.
Well, today, the modern world, as we speak, there are many tools for follow-up. I mean, speaking to someone in person, on the phone, via email, or even the social network. I mean, you could post things on
Sure.
Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, or blah blah blah. Or you could put things. Follow-up can be putting things on your web. I mean, in other words, there isn't a follow-up. There's different types of follow-up.
Right.
Also.
Different kinds of things you can do to nurture a prospect or a client. And it's not just for sales. When it comes to customer service, you need to follow up too. Bill, we were talking before the show about, wouldn't it be nice if when you called an establishment, they recognized you and knew what you ordered last time and maybe could have a conversation with you that made you feel like a valued customer? And all that's possible with some of the systems that we're going to talk about
I love
today.
to call my favorite little Chinese restaurant, because the minute they pick up the phone, "Hello, Mr. Robbins, how are you?"
Yeah, yeah. And that means a lot.
It means a
Yeah.
lot to me. It does, besides I get good food.
Well, it means a lot. It's Coach. If he said it one time, he said it 100 times. Is that keeping a customer, right? Keeping a customer is so much more valuable than finding one. And find the time, the
money.
difficulty, the mountain to climb to find those customers. Once you have one, hold on to them.
Right.
It's 10 times more expensive on average to find a customer than it is to keep the customer happy, and you do want to follow up and keep the customer, because that is the key to financial success in a business. You've got these people coming back again and again because, as you say, they know, they trust you, you follow up, you're with them, you service them correctly, and it's in the book Execution that one of the real keys, besides the fact you need discipline to do these things, is to have some system and not lose touch with those customers, or even more importantly, as you brought up, sales, don't lose touch with those prospects.
Right.
They are no longer suspects, they are real prospects. Or take them out of the system at some point, and that's okay too.
That is.
But while they are prospects, you want to continually try to close the sale.
And that's follow-up.
That's right. And I
All
was
about it.
actually at a conference last weekend, and they were talking about following up, and the question was asked, well, how many times can I follow up? Are people going to be tired of hearing me? And the answer was, until they take out a restraining order, you can continue and should continue to follow up with them.
Right.
I made a phone call the other day to a woman that I've been talking to on and off for a few months, and she actually thanked me for reaching out and following up, because she had just gotten busy, wanted to connect, but just hadn't had the time.
Right.
So the idea that people don't want to hear from you a lot couldn't be further from the truth. People want to hear from you, and sometimes they're too busy to reach out to you, so you need to do it.
I think you should be listening to what Nancy's saying on that, because I think that part of this whole follow-up deal is that there are those who are worried about being, pushy or obnoxious or uncalled for or whatever, and those ideas do occur.
Yeah.
I myself have had that, gee, should I call this person or not? And I think that it has to be intellect over emotion,
Right.
It's polite persistence.
but especially if you have a serious, a reasonable and serious purpose for the follow-up, not, frivolous, not being, frivolous or,
Right, and not always pushing the sale, but really trying to bring value and build the relationship,
absolutely.
which is what you were saying.
Absolutely.
your reason number 2, Nancy, on this, on follow-up is, one place to look, no double booking and no forgetting.
Right.
Tell us what you mean by that.
Well, if you have one place, and let me just say, a system to me is just a process, a number of steps you can repeat over and over again, may be automated, may not. Some people prefer that paper calendar, and if that's what works for them, that's okay. But you need to have one thing, not 5 different things to do, because inevitably something's going to show up here and not here, and there's just too much chance that things will fall through the
Talk
cracks.
about clutter, right.
And clutter, yeah, cluttering your mind as well as your desk. So if you have one place, one central location to put everything, then you know exactly where to go when you need to record an activity or a task you need to do, and you need to go where to look to find out what's on your plate today.
That one place.
One place.
And no forgetting, no double booking. What do you mean by that?
Well, sometimes we book something on this calendar.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And then, somebody calls us and we book something in the same time slot on some other calendar.
Yeah.
And the day of, we look at it and go, uh-oh, how are we gonna handle this?
That just happened to me just yesterday. We do have one central database for my schedule when I'm counseling clients. And I'm speaking to one client, a client that I'm working with, as a matter of fact, to help them with their sales and their staff. And I said, gee, how about next Tuesday at 10 o'clock? I'll be there. And she said, that'd be great. The president will be here. We have our national sales managers in town. That'd be perfect, Cliff. And I hang up and I go to my schedule and I go to put it in there, and there is somebody there already, because my administrative assistant at the main office just booked that person.
Yeah.
And immediately it was handled very simply by, one of them has to change. And since I've got 3 people, that person, could you move that person from 10 to 1?
Right.
She made a call, simple.
And it's done ahead of time, no
It's
harm,
all
no
taken
foul.
care
Yeah.
of, and so in 2 weeks, I'm not gonna be sitting there with 2 people standing at my door.
Right. And an embarrassed look on your face.
I do that all the time.
Your reason number 3 is follow-up equals money, end feast and famine, and even out cash flow. Tell us what you're thinking
Well,
about.
this gets back to sales, and if you have a consistent follow-up process, you really can streamline your sales process in a way that keeps your cash flow a little more consistent. You keep your pipeline full, rather than what most small business owners do. They do a lot of marketing and sales, then they get a few clients and they stop doing the marketing and sales,
And you
they
get
do the
this
client.
cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
So this way, there are a lot of things the system can do for you so that it's happening almost automatically behind the scenes, at least at some level. And that way, you have a more even cash flow.
And you also have a much better system for budgeting your sales and your
Exactly.
production. And have I ever mentioned the importance of cash flow?
Never,
Oh, I probably should have.
never heard of any such.
Yeah, I rail about it constantly. Number 1 subject,
Absolutely.
CFI, MIT, YM. Cash flow is more important than your mom.
That's true.
And you know how important
I'm a
moms
mom.
are? Cash flow is even more important than our business.
Reason number 4 that you gave us: time to create new ideas, time to plan, time to implement.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in scheduling everything.
I am too.
So if you need time to plan in your business, which we all do, and this is really true for the solopreneur because they're stretched in so many directions, you need to calendar time for yourself. If you want to make the gym at 7 a.m., put it on your calendar.
Right.
Carve out that space and dedicate it. That's the way things get done.
That's true. If it's there, you're going to follow the rules that you've set, that you've established. Not only that, over time, you become so comfortable with this as a
Right.
guide that you're saying, I know I'm in the right place at the right time. You're not sitting there saying, oh, let me just check a couple of pockets here
Right.
and see if I've screwed something up, because I usually did.
Because at the end of the day, what happens is business gets in the way and all that planning we were gonna do never happens.
Right.
And that's so important to the future of your business.
Manana, manana.
Or even
Exactly.
worse, we spent time planning, but we never
You
actually
never
followed the plan.
implemented it. Yeah, right.
Reason number 5, stop missing major opportunities.
How many times have you been to a networking event or you've just talked to somebody casually and they said, you know, I really want to talk to you about my business. Nothing formal happened. If you don't go home and put that in your follow-up
system.
system, you're going to forget all about it.
Yep.
That happened to me just last week. Someone talked to me right before I went away on vacation, and I only remembered it this morning. Thankfully, I remembered it. But, you know, there's always that chance that you're doing something else and you're just going to miss that opportunity.
Well, we're measured at the Small Business Development Center by the successes that we have, and Washington does this, and 2 of them are how many people did we actually help start a business? And believe me, I'll see somebody, and they'll start their business after 3 or 4 meetings, but I don't necessarily know it. And so I have a good follow-up system, Center IC, which I use, and I'll send them an email.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've got my website up, my store's open, great, and we can report legitimately that we helped the client start their
Right.
business. But without that, without a follow-up system, they're not about to call us. Or even worse, you know, you help somebody put together a plan, they get their money, they buy their business or they start their business, and we're responsible for certain millions of dollars every year. I follow up and say, oh yeah,
Sure.
oh, I got my loan, yeah, I got my 600,000, yeah, I'm building my building, and oh, great, now we can say, great, here is
Exactly.
impact. But without a follow-up system,
No.
we'd never know.
Or worse, I mean, as you're talking, it jumped in my mind. A small business person, you go to a show, a convention, a meeting, a seminar, I don't know, whatever. We do that all the time. But you spent money and time
Right.
to go to that show, and I saw Coach Robbins, and Coach Robbins said, gee, I'd like to talk to you about so, and you go away and forget that, you
Exactly.
should be shot.
Yeah, even if you have a business card that you collect. I can't tell you the number of business owners. I go into their offices and they have the proverbial stack of business cards with a rubber band around it that nothing ever happened with, and we've all done it. So, you know, you've got to be diligent about that. Collecting 3 or 4 cards a week, getting them into a system is a lot easier than looking at a stack and saying, what am I going to do with all
Because
these?
the only one you can see on the stack's the one on top.
Right.
Your reason number 6 is that you're adding follow-up to your business, so your to-dos, your quote to-dos, actually get done.
Right, because there are really 2 parts to good follow-up. One are the meetings and the activities that you have, and the others are the to-dos. And they both have to get done. And again, this gets back to the scheduling everything on your calendar so you have a chance to get them all done.
And reason number 7, you stop chasing your tail.
Absolutely. And that creates a lot less stress in your business and gives you more time to have some fun if you're not.
I understand that my name is Fox, and I chase my tail. I know what that's all about.
I don't know, well, you're not gonna stop, too late.
Funny, you can't even have a simple name, Nancy. People say Fox. Is that 2 X's?
Oh,
Or
yeah,
is that an E?
Right, right.
I said, no, 1 X.
simple,
One
three-
X,
3
no E.
letters, right.
Yeah. And number 8, clear your head, format your best ideas, and learn to delegate. What do you got in mind?
Well,
there?
if you have a list of tasks that need to get done and you know what's on your plate and it looks like too much, you can ask for some help.
Right.
And if you just have it all over the place, you're not even really sure where you are, and it's very hard to get help if you can't explain to people what you need done.
And not only that, you're not looking in one place. You can prioritize
Right.
and say, ooh, this is really important, or as they said in Spaceballs, this is now.
Yeah.
This has got to be done.
Exactly.
This is something that has to be done, but you know what? I can ask Bill to handle that because I've got to get this done
Right.
this afternoon, and if Bill could just take that, that's you. Mr. Fox can take that, that'd be wonderful.
Right.
And, the company's going to run that much more smoothly, and you have to learn to delegate.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's one of the problems I see with the solopreneur, or not the solopreneur so much because they can't delegate to anybody, but somebody with a small staff, they feel they can do it better than handing it to somebody else. That's usually a
Right.
mistake.
Also, you're reminding me, Nancy, it's the psychology part, it feels so good to be organized. I mean,
It really does.
It
you
does.
guys
You
are,
feel-
you're gonna
you
start
feel at
laughing at me,
peace.
but I mean,
Right.
I'm starting the day and I say, okay, I need to do this, and then I'm gonna do that, and this afternoon I'm gonna, do, that feels good to me instead of saying, I wonder what I forgot, I can't remember, I thought I was supposed to do, I'm
Right.
going like this,
Well, and then there's that sense of accomplishment at the end of the day, too. Rather than at closing the day with, oh, I didn't get anything done.
Yeah.
You can go back and look at what you crossed off
That's
your
true.
list.
That's a good point,
And
yeah.
that's a really positive thing to do at the end of every day.
It is.
Because we beat ourselves up about what we don't do, and we often forget how much we did get done.
That's a very good point. That's just good mindfulness on your part, and to have a little review system and say, geez, I did get a lot done
Yeah.
today. And oh, by the way, tomorrow I've got to
Right.
get on this thing. And it's all about focus. Too many people that I see are running around like chickens without their heads. I mean, literally, they're just multitasking. What a bunch of garbage that is.
Right.
You need to focus to get things done correctly.
plus you can go to your yoga class and brag about how organized you
There
are.
you go, that's right.
And do your pilots.
Do your Pilates, not pilot. I'm a pilot, but that's my airplane. That's different.
Your reason number 9, I love these reasons. Well, I like all of your reasons. But number 9, deliver on your promises, exceed customer expectations, and build your brand.
You want to be known as somebody who gets things done.
Right.
Somebody that makes a promise and delivers on it.
And delivers.
And that's key. And if your follow-up system isn't so good, you might forget some of those things, or you
Right.
might not exceed your customers' expectations. So
I mean, have I ever mentioned the importance of building a powerful brand identity?
Never heard you say a thing
Well, let
about
me
that.
say something about it, because, I mean, you could build such a powerful brand identity, who knows, you could even become president.
that's
Even after
Oh,
you put it
God,
on a
there's a-
failed
there's a-
airline,
That was-
or a failed hotel, or whatever, failed golf course, still a
And
brand.
Reason number 10, avoid the overwhelm mode, avoid paralysis, and hey, the world is moving fast.
It sure is. I mean, we have so much that's coming in the way of information. We're always in overwhelm and information overload. And it's important that you don't get paralyzed by the mere load of all the things you have on your plate to get done. So prioritization is key. And again, when you have a nice follow-up system, you can look at your plate for the day, and if something else has come up, you can move things around, you can do the prioritization and keep it all sane for yourself. And that's huge. Otherwise, if you get overwhelmed, sometimes we get to the point where we really can't move and get anything done because we're just spinning our wheels.
I'm an amateur theoretical physicist, and some 15, 20 years.
Holy mackerel.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. And the universe is expanding at an ever faster rate. That's the whole universe. And so is the business world. It's changing so quickly, and the changes are coming at us faster and faster all the time, along with the expansion of the universe. You gotta have something to get control of the darn thing.
You're grounded, right?
Yeah, you gotta be.
I don't know about you guys. I mean, see this gray hair? I mean, I remember when the world was more peaceful in a way. I mean, it was, back in the 50s or 60s. I mean, it wasn't anywhere near, rapidity and the.
Right.
Yeah, and it's increasing, it is accelerating, the technology changes that are coming at people, all of these things, the business world's moving faster and faster all the time.
And I think on the part of your customer we've talked about, your customers want to know something or want something to take
Right.
place, like this. There's no, lackadaisical, pace here.
No, they're used to on-demand knowledge. They can go out to YouTube or Facebook or
Google.
and find anything they need. And we were talking earlier, they want it in sound bites, 15-minute chunks.
Right,
So you've got to be able to manage all that.
absolutely.
Okay, now, this is the part of the show, Nancy, you say, all of the foregoing ideas are great, but what do I do? I mean, to make it happen. What do I do for better follow-up? Your slide tells us take action. Are you familiar with CRM? Question mark. No. Question mark. Look into it. If it makes sense, install it.
Right.
Customer relationship management, have I mentioned that?
Yeah, customer relationship management systems. And there are some really great, easy to use automated systems. And we can talk about those because that is really the way to go in my opinion.
So all of the implementation here we're talking about is the use of your computer.
Use of the computer.
And a laptop and or the smartphone
iPhone,
or
smartphone,
both.
yeah.
Both, because the systems I'm going to talk about today have a component that allow you to look at them. They're in the cloud, so you can look at them on any device.
Right,
And that will give you all the information you need right at your fingertips, no matter where you are, so that you can act accordingly.
And there are good customer relations products out there, and there's a couple of good ones you were suggesting.
I'm recommending these two because if you don't have a follow-up system or a CRM, now these are low-end systems that are easy to use, and believe it or not, they're $10 a month per user, both of them. Pipedrive is one I've recently started using for my own business, and I really like it. It's got a one-page view of all the things I've got going on. I can drill down to the individual prospect or client, and I use my CRMs not only for sales, but for customer service, so to
Right.
speak, to keep track of those interactions as well. And then the other one is Less Annoying CRM, and I just love the name of that, but it's also
La Crumb.
LaCrom. Less Annoying CRM is what that stands for. And it's a really flexible system. So you can build pipelines in there, which are nothing more than processes. And you can build them for more than just sales. You can have it for your customer service, projects that you work on, and implementing that and everything in there. It gives you an opportunity to keep track of everything in one place, not just clients.
very good.
Okay, thank you. Nancy, great session.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
And,
Enjoyed it.
Good to see you again.
Good to
Yeah,
see you.
you got to promise, I got you on camera, so I'm going to make you promise to come back.
I will promise to come back for
Pink-
sure.
pinky swear.
Anytime.
And thank you guys for watching. Feel free to send us an email with questions, comments, or otherwise at foxrobbins@gmail.com. And we will see you next time. Thank you.